why 8 hours of sleep is a scam. Nearly everyone has heard the same advice: sleep 8 hours every night. It's repeated by doctors, fitness influencers, and productivity experts as though it's a universal law. But decades of sleep research reveal a more complicated reality. The number itself isn't the problem. The belief that every brain requires exactly 8 hours is. Sleep scientists rarely describe healthy sleep with a single magic number. Instead, they describe a range. For most adults, organizations like the American Academy of Sleep Medicine and the Sleep Research Society recommend somewhere between 7 and 9 hours. Yet public conversation often compresses that evidence into a simpler message: 8 hours, or you failed. That tiny simplification changes everything. Your brain doesn't measure sleep the way a stopwatch measures time. It measures recovery. Time asleep is only one piece of a far more complex biological process. Sleep is controlled by two powerful systems. The first is your circadian rhythm, your internal clock that predicts when your body should be awake or asleep based largely on light exposure. The second is sleep pressure, a gradual buildup of chemicals, especially adenosine, that makes you increasingly sleepy the longer you've been awake. Think of sleep pressure as biological hunger for sleep. It builds throughout the day and is relieved only by sleeping. These systems constantly interact. That's why two people can sleep for exactly 8 hours, yet wake up feeling completely different. One person may have slept through several uninterrupted cycles of deep and REM sleep. The other may have spent half the night waking briefly because of stress, alcohol, noise, sleep apnea, or simply sleeping at the wrong biological time. The clock says 8 hours. The brain says something entirely different. Matthew Walker, a neuroscientist known for his work on sleep, often emphasizes that sleep isn't a passive state where the brain shuts off. It's an active period of maintenance. During deep sleep, the brain strengthens important memories while removing unnecessary information. During REM sleep, emotional experiences are reorganized, making difficult events feel less overwhelming over time. Different stages perform different jobs. Duration alone tells only part of the story. Researchers also discovered something surprising about sleep architecture. Your sleep changes across the night. Early sleep contains more deep, slow-wave sleep, which is especially important for physical recovery and immune function. Later sleep contains proportionally more REM sleep, which contributes heavily to emotional regulation, creativity, and learning. Missing either portion changes what your brain accomplishes overnight. This helps explain why sleeping 8 fragmented hours isn't necessarily better than 7 continuous hours. Quality matters. Timing matters. Consistency matters. One of the biggest misconceptions involves sleep debt. Many people assume that losing 2 hours each weekday can simply be repaired by sleeping late on weekends. Unfortunately, biology isn't quite that cooperative. Research shows that some aspects of recovery do occur after extended sleep. Alertness can improve, and subjective fatigue often decreases. But studies have also found that certain cognitive functions, metabolic changes, and disruptions to circadian timing may not fully normalize after just 1 or 2 nights of catch-up sleep. Your brain remembers irregularity longer than your calendar does. Another fascinating discovery comes from chronobiology, the science of biological timing. Not everyone is built on the same schedule. Some people naturally become alert early in the morning. Others perform best much later in the day. Scientists call these chronotypes. Genetics influence whether you're more of a morning or evening person, although age, light exposure, and lifestyle also play major roles. This means two people sleeping exactly 8 hours may still experience dramatically different levels of energy if they're forced to sleep against their internal clock. A night owl required to wake at 5 in the morning may technically achieve 8 hours of sleep while still feeling mentally impaired because their circadian rhythm hasn't aligned with that schedule. The number wasn't wrong. The timing was. Sleep research has also challenged another assumption, that sleeping longer is always healthier. Large population studies sometimes find that both unusually short sleep and unusually long sleep are associated with poorer health outcomes. But this doesn't necessarily mean long sleep causes disease. In many cases, longer sleep may be a symptom rather than the cause. Chronic illness, Depression, inflammation, and other medical conditions can increase the need for sleep or reduce sleep quality, making people spend more time in bed without achieving better restoration. This distinction matters. Correlation is not causation. Scientists spend enormous effort separating the two. Modern technology adds another layer to the story. Smartphones, LED lighting, and late-night screen use expose your eyes to light at times when your brain expects darkness. Light suppresses melatonin, the hormone that signals nighttime to your body. Even if you remain in bed for 8 hours, delaying melatonin release can shift your internal clock, making sleep shallower or less restorative. Your schedule may say you've slept enough. Your biology may disagree. Stress creates a similar effect. When cortisol, one of the body's primary stress hormones, remains elevated into the evening, your nervous system stays more alert. Falling asleep becomes harder, nighttime awakenings become more frequent, and deep sleep can become less stable. Again, the stopwatch records 8 hours. Your brain records interrupted recovery. Perhaps the most important lesson from sleep science is that healthy sleep cannot be reduced to a single statistic. Researchers measure sleep efficiency, which compares time asleep to time spent in bed. They examine sleep stages, circadian alignment, regularity from one night to the next, breathing patterns, and daytime alertness. These variables often predict health better than one fixed number alone. That's why two people can report identical sleep durations while showing completely different memory performance, emotional resilience, immune function, and metabolic health. The scam isn't 8 hours itself. For many adults, 8 hours is an excellent target. The scam is believing that one number can replace an entire biological system. Sleep isn't a competition against the clock. It's a conversation between your brain, your body, your environment, and time itself. Once you understand that, the question changes completely. Instead of asking, "Did you get 8 hours?" the far more scientific question becomes, "Did your brain get the kind of sleep it actually needed?"